Oops. Might help if I take the lid off of that lens. Good evening, guys, and welcome to another live stream. It is Friday night and it is 7 p.m. And I would ask you guys how this week has been. But if you are a kid of the 80s, it's been a pretty terrible week. More on that later. Good evening, everyone. We've got Mark, we've got Skip, we've got Age Forgotten, we've got Ozzy with his infamous potato room. Guys, we have Age Forgotten. It's been horrible. Yes, it most certainly has. Again, more on that later. I have a pretty news heavy stream for you guys this week, so we are going to be getting into that. I got like 4 different news articles, one of which is going to lead into our main topic for tonight. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into things with the first article. And let me pull up a picture for you guys. Got a couple of cruise news articles for you guys, some pretty shocking ones, actually. So here we are. We're looking at the Icon of the Seas Royal Caribbean ship. And I heard about this about an hour or so before we went live here this evening. And Icon of the Seas crew member stabs female co-worker and dies before jumping overboard. The Royal Bahamas Police Force provided additional details about an incident between 2 crew members on Royal Caribbean International's cruise ship Icon of the Seas. The report clarified the widely covered media report of a crew member falling overboard after being recovered by the cruise ship. Initial erroneous media reports said a crew member had fallen from the massive cruise ship Icon of the Seas while the ship was cruising off San Salvador in the Bahamas on Thursday, July 24th. According to the statement from Bahamas police, shortly before 7:30 p.m. local time, a 28-year-old female South African crew member was allegedly stabbed multiple times by a 35-year-old male South African crew member. Following the incident, the police were told the man had fled from the scene and jumped overboard. Passengers reported that crew members seeing the man jump through life preservers to mark the spot. As the world's largest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas required time to slow and turn, even though it was likely moving at a relatively low speed after a day at sea approaching the company's private island, Coco Cay, for the Friday port stop. The crew launched one of the vessel's Go Fast rescue boats and was able to locate the male crew member. According to the captain's announcement, the male was recovered. Later reports said he was unconscious when they found him and pronounced him deceased when they got back to the cruise ship. The female had been stabbed multiple times in the upper body. The Royal Bahamas Police Force reports she was treated. They said she was in stable condition. The police report that an autopsy has been scheduled to determine the cause of any contributing factors for the male crew member's death. Royal Caribbean International confirmed in a statement to the Florida media that there had been an incident involving 2 crew members in a personal dispute and that its onboard security team had responded. Crew members working live and aboard these ships in notoriously small cabins and tight quarters. Icon of the Seas has approximately 2,350 crew members on board. When full, it could also be carrying approximately 7,600 passengers. Okay. So let me get back up here with the comments. Matt is here with us. So yeah, guys, how was that? That was pretty shocking. Lots of people on that ship. Yeah, and I don't know if the ship was at full capacity or not, but again, 7,600 people. You know, when the ship is at full capacity. With that, let's move on to our next one. And I do not have a picture for this one. Man, it was crazy when I read it. I didn't read the whole article till you just read it. Yeah. This is one that I heard about earlier in the week. Excuse me. U.S. cruise passengers nabbed after allegedly possessing lethal drug powerful enough to sedate elephants. 4 U.S. cruise ship passengers were arrested in Bermuda after they were allegedly in possession of drugs powerful enough to sedate an elephant. The Bermuda police said the Carnival Cruise Line passengers were arrested after officials on the ship allegedly discovered they were in possession of a significant quantity of illegal drugs and drug paraphernalia. Bermuda police said that synthetic opioid carfentanil, vape pens, and suspected THC gummies were found in the passengers' possession. According to the police, the drugs were going to be distributed on the island. Bermuda Police Service Acting Detective Superintendent Derek Burns said carfentanil is very powerful. It's about 100 times stronger than fentanyl and was originally used to sedate large animals like elephants. Even tiny amounts can be deadly. This seizure may have prevented a potential tragedy. So, as you can probably imagine, Thorazine knows. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about these type of drugs, guys. So, I don't know if carfentanil is Thorazine or any type of relation to it. But in the end, you can safely say that getting banned from traveling on cruise ships is going to be the least of these people's worries, I would imagine. I mean, come on, charges are coming. That much is going to be obvious. What kind of charges? We don't know yet. Be sure to take your V vitamins. Well, train, say your prayers, take your vitamins. More on that later. Anyway, the next article we've got, on to some more pleasant type of news. I received an email from Battleship Texas, and they were providing an update on what's happening with our beloved BB-35. And I'm going to get into that for you guys. So let's talk about Texas. So here we go. This is one of the images, and you can see this. This has not happened yet, but here she is, BB-35. This is where she will be at her Pier 15 new home of Battleship Texas coming 2026. You got a Royal Caribbean cruise terminal here, and Galveston's historic Strand District, Carnival Cruise Terminal there. So I'm going to read what they've got to say. So, we're proud to have finalized an agreement with the Galveston Wharves Board securing Pier 15 as the new home of the battleship Texas. As restoration work continues across the channel, we look forward to relocating her next year and continuing our mission to create a world-class historic destination. The battleship Texas, America's last surviving battleship to serve in both World War I and World War II, is a powerful symbol of our nation's history, and permanently berthing her to Galveston is a true honor. Now we get into a shipyard update. Frequently asked questions. What's next? Battleship Texas will remain at Gulf Copper Shipyard for now until her new home at Pier 15 is ready for her. Work continues on the ship's wood deck, prepping and painting the ship's interior and other projects. Touring. No tours are being offered at this time. Specialty tours like the Normandy Tour, Gunnery Tour, and Engineering Tour will return after our 2026 opening. Reopening. There's a lot to be done before the ship is ready for touring at her new home at Pier 15 in Galveston. We are targeting 2026 for reopening at Pier 15. Missing guns. The ship's anti-aircraft guns are currently undergoing restoration. The guns and gun directors will be replaced once their restoration is complete. All 6 5-inch guns have been reinstalled, and the first quad 40mm has been reinstalled. Let's change pictures here. Jack and ensign staffs reinstalled. The jack and ensign staff's flagpoles were reinstalled on the bow and stern this month. The ensign staff on the ship's stern is the ship's 1945 staff, but was taken down for restoration. The jack staff on the bow was a crude and undersized reproduction, which has been replaced with a new, accurate, full-size reproduction staff. Our team met with the Texas State Fire Marshal's Office and our vendor, Wilson Fire, to plan for the ship's new fire alarm system and addressing other fire safety requirements. This is one of the less exciting but very important steps that needs to be completed before we can reopen to the public at Pier 15 next year. Can Battleship Wisconsin, this is an interesting question. Can Battleship Wisconsin go back into service? The answer to that is no, Ozzy. None of the Iowa class will ever go back into service, nor will the other 3 battleships, Alabama, North Carolina, or Massachusetts. They are obsolete vessels. They have a certain range where, the Iowas would probably be able to, they're the only ones that realistically could, but the amount of money it would take to reactivate the Iowas, it's just not going to happen. I don't see any world where the battleships are ever going to come back, unfortunately. It would be amazing, but not going to happen. Let's see. American Loyalists say in Myrtle Beach, going to Yorktown on Monday. Well, that's awesome. And of course, Laffey is parked right next to Yorktown. So make sure you check out Laffey too, as well. The ship that would not die. Mark Wolf texted me on Monday, I think. Oh yeah, Wolf and I exchanged some greetings a couple weeks ago. He's doing well. I was hoping he'd be here tonight when he saw that we'd be talking about the Texas for a bit. But, it is what it is. So we've got one more news article left, which will bring us into our main topic for the week. So let's see. Let me pull this up. So what you guys are seeing right here is a privately owned boat, yacht, whatever, in San Diego Harbor colliding with the USS Midway, the museum ship out in San Diego. Is it Wisconsin in Iraq? Wisconsin and Missouri, Ozzy, were the two Iowa-class ships that were involved in the Persian Gulf War. So yeah, this is a personally owned yacht. The owner of the boat was essentially BUI, boating under the influence, and drove his boat straight into the USS Midway museum ship in San Diego. Mark, Midway is massive. Yes, I can tell you from firsthand experience. Yes, the Midway is absolutely massive. So let's get into what happened. Boat captain arrested after hit and run crash into USS Midway museum ship, causing $100,000 in damage. A 60-foot private vessel collided with the USS Midway in San Diego on Friday afternoon, not today, last Friday, leading to the arrest of its captain for allegedly boating under the influence and fleeing the scene. The collision occurred just before 2 p.m. on July 18th, officials confirmed to Fox News Digital. Authorities say the vessel struck the hull of the USS Midway, leaving a visible dent on the side of the historic decommissioned aircraft carrier, which now serves as a naval museum and popular tourist attraction. The impact drew the attention of bystanders near the iconic unconditional surrender statue, a sculpture inspired by the famous World War II image of a sailor kissing a nurse at the end of World War II. The statue stands near the USS Midway. We received calls from several witnesses, officials said, adding that bystanders reported that the impact was very loud. Though the fishing boat initially fled following the collision, harbor police intercepted it near the San Diego Coronado Bridge. No injuries were reported. The suspect's vessel had only minor damage and was not at risk of sinking. Police say that preliminary estimates place the damage to the USS Midway at over $100,000. The suspect's identity has not been released and the investigation remains ongoing. Officers arrested the boat's captain on suspicion of operating under the influence and vessel hit and run. Warship Cam's video of the collision, posted on several social media sites, quickly went viral, showing the moment the vessel approached the historic aircraft carrier. "You can't park here, sir," one person commented on the video. So, yeah, yikes. And charged for hit and running. Yes, because that's exactly what happened. He hit the Midway, backed the boat up, and took off, and eventually was caught. So, yeah, he was arrested. He was charged. I don't know how insurance and all that is going to work in this situation, but hopefully for that guy's sake, he's either got a lot of money or the museum is insured for any accidents like this happening. I mean, $100,000 worth of damage, guys. Think about that. Anyway, that is going to wrap up our news here for tonight, and that is going to bring us into our topic for tonight. So I have never, that I can remember, shown you guys pictures of when I went to the Midway. So I thought that would be a good topic, for this evening. So let's do that. Great news report. Well, thank you, Mark. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Like I said, a lot of news this week, and we're not quite done with news yet. American Loyalists ever been to Yorktown? No, Loyalists. Coincidentally, with us talking about the Midway this evening, Midway is the only carrier that I've actually ever been to. Matt, I don't quite understand how that ship got a huge dent in it. Isn't the carrier armored like battleships? The answer to that is yes and no. They are thin in some spots and thicker in the others. I am not sure exactly where on the hull that thickness starts and stops, but they it didn't puncture a hole in the Midway. I mean, the Midway is absolutely under no threat of sinking whatsoever. It's just really dented. They didn't puncture the hull. But and I don't know what all goes into repairing something like that. But uh, Mark, I've been to a carrier too, USS Intrepid. Oh, nice. You never told me that before. Intrepid. Intrepid's in New York, correct? I believe Intrepid is in New York. Correct me if I am wrong on that. So anyway, let's go ahead and start getting into some pictures. Ozzy's been there as well. Yes, New York City. Okay. So here we are. This is actually a few blocks up from the Midway. And if you look here, you can see San Diego Harbor, Bay, whatever it is right here in the background. And you've got this tall ship right here. See if we can, the Star India. There we go. So we didn't actually get to tour this. We were in San Diego for, I think, like 3 full days. We got there on a Monday evening, if I remember correctly. Then we spent Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and no, that's not right. No, we got there on Tuesday evening, and we stayed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3 full days in the city, and we left the Saturday morning. But yeah, we didn't get to tour this, as cool as that would have been. But like I said, this was a few blocks up from the Midway. This is the statue that they mentioned in the article. We've all seen this epic picture of, in the papers at the end of World War II. The guy's got, the sailor. He's dipping the nurse down and kissing her, as you can see here in the photo. It's actually a very tall photo. If you look at this gentleman here, and look how tall the statue is, that'll give you some perspective. And where the boat hit was somewhere over here in the forward section of the hull. So, here we go. This is a panoramic, because you got this whole park over here on the port side of the ship, and you can see this is a panorama. You can see the statue over here on the right. You've got some skyscrapers over here in the background. And again, we can see it better. The collision happened somewhere right here in this section, because whoever took the picture is standing up probably about right here, because you can see this angle. You see how the deck stops, and then you've got it turns this way, it turns forward from this angle right here. You can see part of this in the image. So let's see. Yeah, come on. This is also in that park. If you look real good back here, you can see the Midway in the background, and you got these helicopters up here, up on the deck. And over here, you look real good. You can see the superstructure. This was pretty cool. It's like this is depicting like a USO show, and you got I believe this was Bob Hope, and he's doing like a USO show during the war. And there was actually sounds and music playing throughout this little presentation right here. So that was really nice. And here we're walking on the pier, making our way to the museum entrance. And you can see just how massive this thing is. And up here's about the main entrance. You can see the superstructure up here. I forget how much it was to actually go on the ship itself. I don't think it was that expensive from what I remember. But you can spend essentially all day on this carrier because I mean it is that massive, and they open up a huge chunk of the ship for you to see. It's not just like one isolated little area. We even got to go inside the bridge, which and you'll see pictures of that. Oof, my chair's coming down on me. But anyway, on the lower decks you can see. Ozzy, have you been to the Midway? Skip says CV41 is the awesome. She most certainly is, Skip. But this is all throughout the interior of the ship. They store the planes and whatnot, and this is what you're seeing here. So this up here would be like the main deck where they're all launching from. I would spend the days on it to see everything. I don't, from what I remember, Mark, you don't need a whole day to see everything, but it's you would need the bulk of the day to see everything. Ozzy, did you go to the museum to see the Japanese Zero? Ozzy, if it was not on the Midway, no, I did not see it. American Loyalist, is Yorktown a sister ship? That's an interesting question. Let's see. I am not sure. I know Midway is the lead ship of the class, so this shouldn't take too long to figure out. Let's see. USS Midway CV41. Let's go to Wikipedia real quick. They'll tell me the ships in the name of the ships in the class. Let's see. I don't think it was, but I would rather not say the wrong thing. Let's see. The lead ship of her class, the Midway class. That's what I want. Midway is, of course, again, the Midway class. 3 ships were completed in the Midway class. Let's see. The Franklin D. Roosevelt was one of the ships. So you got the Midway, the Franklin D. Roosevelt, ships in class. Coral Sea. So to answer your question, and Mark already got it for us. Looks like Yorktown is an Essex class. So yeah, the ships in Midway's class are the Franklin D. Roosevelt, and it says X Coral Sea, and then the Coral Sea. Hello, Karen. Welcome to the stream. So let's see. Let's move on. So this is also inside the ship. Sorry, getting notifications on my phone that I got to see what they are. So this is all inside the superstructure. Tim would be livid if he saw these mannequins. Ozzy, I've been in the lower decks in Midway. Okay, nice. I did not know that you've been to the Midway. Well, Ozzy, that begs the question: what other museum ships have you been to besides Midway? Marines. This was pretty cool. So you can't really see it too well, but actually, this is anchor chain right here, and this is up near the bow, and you see they've got it all plexiglass off, and you can see where the chains are going down into the water right here. And of course, right here they've got a straight. The porthole is opened up, and of course you got plexiglass covering, and it actually. You don't think the ship is really that high out of the water, but when you get this view, you kind of it's a lot higher than it looks. And here's a better view. Here's the bay right here. keep calling it Bay. I don't know if it's San Diego. I don't remember it's San Diego Harbor or San Diego Bay, but you get the idea. Going to the bridge is a tight climb upstairs. Yep. And that's the really cool thing. I love that they let you on the actual bridge. Yeah. Marines. So, and here we are up on the deck, up on the flight deck. You can see you come up on the deck from the stern or near the stern, and you can walk all the way across the deck to the very bow of the ship. Ozzy's been to Queen Mary. Nice. She's on my bucket list, guys, one day. Let's zoom in. You can see the superstructure here on the starboard side, and the whole deck is lined up with planes. And here, closer to the superstructure, getting a better view of it here. I'd hate to be the person that's got to go all the way up there. And a much closer view. Memory serves, you go through here. You go through this this open door here, and if you look further aft, you can come out through here. Ozzy saw so the carrier USS Ranger before she caught on fire when it's in San Diego. Is that COVID stuff? I don't remember us being under any type of COVID protocol, Skip, when we went. I don't remember us wearing masks or being required to wear masks or anything like that. So my favorite jet fighter is still the F-4 Phantom. I don't know much about aircraft. So I don't know if I would really have like a favorite jet, plane, whatever you call it. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with the P-51 Mustangs, you know, the red tails that the Tuskegee Airmen flew. I know a little bit about those. I mean, Skip, that I will say that was around the time of COVID when we went to California, but I really don't remember us having to wear masks. If we did, I don't remember it. And this is a cool shot. This is this is getting close to the bow. You can see they've got this statue of the guy right here, or mannequin, whatever it is, and he's, you know, given, I don't know if that's a signal for the plane to launch or whatever it is, but it's just a really cool shot. That's a permanent fixture on the deck. Loyalist air conditioning. There is air conditioning in the superstructure. All right. Moving on. So this is near the bow, and this was just a shot I took. I wasn't worried about this parking lot or anything, but I wanted this shot of the harbor here, you know, just with all the nice backgrounds and or backgrounds with you know, the hilltops and all that. Guys, see, in the South we don't have geography like this. Everything is flat. So, you know, when I'm out here and I'm seeing and these aren't really mountains, but we drove there. So I drove from Southeast Louisiana all the way to San Diego, and I'm seeing, you know, deserts and cactus and mountains and driving through mountains. When you get north of Tucson on I-10, you veer off onto I-8 west, and that brings you straight into San Diego. And after you cross the border into California, after you've seen all the deserts and whatnot from West Texas and New Mexico and Arizona, you start getting into these the mountainous terrain. There's a point where you're on I-8. You go through some mountains before you get into San Diego, and you're like 4,000 feet in elevation. And that's, when you're seeing stuff like that for the first time in your life, that in itself was an adventure. And it was pretty cool. I don't have the picture in here, but we also went to Mission Beach in San Diego. I dipped my feet into the Pacific for the first time. And I got this cool picture of essentially something like this. I'm looking down this way at the beach and seeing how it just kind of extends out into the water. And you've got some mountains, and you've got all these houses and stuff on these various elevations. I mean, it was such an amazing sight to see. I know I'm kind of tangenting here, but I'm thinking about it as I'm looking at these pictures. Ozzy, you did not have to wear a mask on the Midway. Yeah, no, I don't think we did either. USS Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier was there too under repairs. Okay. I don't, you don't have to give me an exact time when you went, Ozzy. What year did you go? We went, this was, I think this was 2021 or 2022 when we did this trip, as best I can remember. So here is looking aft on the deck, and you can see, part of the San Diego, skyscrapers or whatever behind us. And let's see. So essentially, where I showed you guys where the collision, where the boat hit, this is almost the exact same angle that picture was. You can see it because he's a lot. Whoever took that video or picture, whatever, was a lot closer than what I am right here. But this is essentially the exact same angle, and the boat hit somewhere right here. When drove to San Diego, did you do it in 48 hours? Less. We left here on Monday morning, and we got there on Tuesday night. And if I ever do that drive again, I will never, ever do it hardcore like that, because that was hard. Really, you'd have to do it in like 3 days from where I'm at. With that, that was extremely difficult. All right. And here we are on the bridge at sunset. Did you see the Sun Casino off the beach in San Diego? I don't remember that. I do remember a little amusement park we went to at Mission Beach. I remember it had a roller coaster. It had a bunch of little tourist shops and things like that. Billy, what's up? Rip Hulk Hogan. More on that later. So, yeah, here we are, 2017. Okay, so you went there way before I did, and you went there way before COVID and all that. So you definitely wouldn't have had to wear a mask. Well, thank you very much, Billy. Likewise, my friend. Thank you. But yeah, here we are on the bridge of the Midway, and you're looking out. There you can see it. I don't know if I can't remember any other museum shop where we actually got to go on the bridge. I really don't. So that was an awesome experience. And we had there was a veteran up there, and I don't think he was doing guided tours. He was just kind of hanging out up there on the bridge, and you could stop and ask him questions and whatnot while you were up there. So that would conclude our. That was the last shot of being on the Midway. This was our last night in San Diego. This was a Friday night. and we went out to eat at a restaurant which was a few blocks away from the Midway. And I forget the name of the restaurant, but it was essentially right by the tall ship, the very first picture I showed you guys, right by there, essentially like across the street from it. This is like a little parking garage. I wasn't trying to get like parking garage shots. I was trying to get the shots of the buildings that you see here. And Smokies on your tail, eastbound and down. So, yep, there it is. There's the tall ship lit up at night. Star of India. So, yeah, essentially right behind us is the restaurant that we ate at. And that concludes the pictures I wanted to show you guys tonight of my trip to the Midway. Are you ready for next weekend? Tall ships are the cool. You know, I've never actually toured. I've toured some smaller versions of tall ships, but not one this size. Guys, I am going to step away just for a second. And when I come back, we're going to discuss the last thing that I was planning to discuss with you guys for this evening. So give me a sec. I'll be right back. No, Aaron. Actually, no. Let's see. The audio took a break just for a second. No bathroom break. Welcome, buddy. I'm glad to see you, buddy. Unfortunately, well, Billy, you might want to hang out for a few seconds. Unfortunately, buddy, we're actually, as surprising as this as this is, guys. I'm wrapping up the our ship content for the remainder of our stream for this week. So, as I started off by saying, you know, if you were a kid in the '80s, it's been a rough week for us. So, Sunday, and I didn't actually find out this until Monday. And yeah, I am breaking from the normal format for just this week because this stuff is. I think we need to talk about it a little bit. And you know, we found this news broke on Sunday. As far I didn't know about it till Monday. Malcolm-Jamal Warner course, we all knew him as Theo Huxtable on the Cosby Show. Passed away. He was 54 years old. He drowned off of a beach. He got caught in a rip current. I forget exactly where this happened. Now I've heard conflicting reports, or excuse me, read conflicting reports about what supposedly happened. I read one article that said he was in the water with his 8-year-old daughter, and then I read another article today that said she was not in the water with him. He was with a friend, I believe, is what they said, and he got caught in. He got caught in the rip current, and sadly, he didn't make it. So that was Monday when I found that out. Tuesday, Ozzy, and just yesterday, Hulk Hogan. So what's really super sad to me about what happened to Malcolm-Jamal Warner with Hulk and Ozzy, we kind of knew it wasn't expecting it right now, but we kind of knew. I would expected either one of them to go before Malcolm-Jamal Warner, because Malcolm-Jamal Warner was only 54 years old. Ozzy and Hulk, they're both in their 70s. They're getting up there in age, and they're sadly having a lot of health related issues. Hulk had a neck surgery, or I believe, or it's either a neck surgery or a major back surgery a few months ago. Of course, we know Ozzy had a form of Parkinson's, and he couldn't walk anymore. That's why he was in the chair a couple of weeks ago for his final concert ever. So we kind of knew eventually it was going to happen. With Malcolm-Jamal Warner, that came out of left field because he was in good health. There was nothing wrong with him. So it was a bit of a shock. And that was super sad. Before I get into Ozzy, I know Ozzy passed away before Hulk, but I want to talk a little bit about Hulk first. So I was not a massive Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid. Actually, I've never been a massive Hulk Hogan fan, but Hulk Hogan was a massive part of my life growing up because I was a massive wrestling fan growing up. I was a little kid for WrestleMania 3 when he wrestled Andre, and I was around, in my teenage years in the 90s when he reinvented himself and did the NWO and all that. So even though he was never one of my top guys, Hulk was always there. You couldn't avoid him. Hulk was to wrestling back then, what he was the Elvis of wrestling. He was the Beatles. That's wrestling today. It would never be what it is without him. And I know there was a lot of controversy in his life the last 15 or so years. Unfortunately, some things went down that did not endear him to a lot of people. But regardless of how you feel about him, he put wrestling on the map. Wrestling as it exists today is because of Hulk Hogan. There's no denying that. So I was sorry to hear of his passing, obviously, and I'm sad for his friends, his family, his fans, Malcolm-Jamal Warner as well. So my favorite all-time wrestlers. I'll just run through the list. I don't have a top 5. I have a top 4. Number 1 is The Undertaker. It's been that way forever. and the other three in no particular order: Bret Hart, Steve Austin, and the Ultimate Warrior. Those four were my guys. And Hulk got baptized with his wife a few. I don't know if it was a few months ago, Matt, but yes, he was baptized at some point. And the other thing with celebrities and whatnot passing, guys, I got a confession. So I've never quite understood this like people being so emotionally brought down and brought to tears and whatnot when a celebrity passes. I never made that connection in my mind. I mean, and I've been sad when people have gotten, you know, when they have passed away over the years. A number of celebrities. I remember I was really, uh, I was actually depressed for a bit. I'll tell you when Prince passed away, and Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. Both those, I was really sad about those. But in all the years, I can never ever remember just breaking down and crying when a celebrity passed away until Tuesday. Guys, this hit me in a way I can't describe to you. Um, Losing Ozzy, man, I cried all Tuesday. I've never been hit so hard with a celebrity passing as I have with Ozzy. And even now, like today, I'm still I was still getting a little misty eyed earlier. This one hit me in a way that I just can't describe to you guys. It losing Ozzy broke my heart, man. You know, it can't be understated how big Ozzy was. Like Ozzy, Ozzy was he's in the that pantheon. He's with Elvis. He's with the Beatles. You know, you name the all-time greats, and Ozzy is on that list. You know, Ozzy and Hulk too. They transcended the business that made them famous. You know, Hulk went from being a wrestling star to this pop culture icon. It doesn't matter if someone never watched a minute of wrestling in their life. When you heard the name Hulk Hogan, you knew who people were talking about. When you never had to hear a single Ozzy song in your life, but when you heard the name Ozzy Osbourne, people knew who you were talking about. You know, Ozzy just didn't get famous from being a musician. Ozzy pretty Black Sabbath damn near invented heavy metal. You know, the list of bands that were influenced by Black Sabbath and Ozzy, the list is up over a paragraph long. And you think about it, Ozzy got started when my parents were teenagers. You know, Black Sabbath got started in the 70s. You know, Ozzy was touring and selling out arenas across the world before any of us were here. And those of us who were kids in the 80s, you know, we remember him for his solo career. And then the subsequent generations, you know, a lot of them remember him from, you know, the Osbournes, the TV show, one of the first ever reality TV shows that came into being. So Ozzy pioneered that. Um, so it's I couldn't do anything this week with with not sharing some thoughts about these all three of these guys who became iconic in their own ways. And I know there were some other folks that passed away as well this week, but I don't really know much about any of them. I'm just, touching on the three that I'm familiar with. And I will never ever say again that I don't understand why people cry when or get that sad when a celebrity passes away, because with Ozzy, I get it now. I understand it. In a way I never thought I'd understand it before. Uh, so having said all of that, I'm going to wrap it up a few minutes early. That way I don't tear up on here in front of you guys, just thinking about it. So that's going to wrap us up for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. And there was no video of the week this week. The video of the week will come back next week. With all that stuff that was happening this week, I ain't going to lie to you. I was just too depressed to even think about working on a video. Like I said, I broke my heart, man. I ain't going to lie to you guys. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week, as always. And until the next time, we're not going to say drive safely. We're going to say never stop riding the rails of the crazy train. Thanks.